Excellent. Well, good morning and welcome to the Fort Worth Police Officers Association building. Thank you everybody for joining us. Special thank you to President Lloyd Cook and the members of the Fort Worth Police Officers Association for opening up this building for us, and to everybody who showed up to support Governor Greg Abbott in this re-election campaign. We have a lot of elected officials here today and some tremendous members of the law enforcement community representing a lot of incredible organizations. Today we have represented of the elected officials Senator Phil King, Sheriff Bill Wayburn, Tarrant County Judge Tim O'Hare, Fort Worth Councilman Alan Blaylock, and several candidates for state office. We have State Senator candidate Lee Wamsgans here, and various others that are supportive of this campaign and these efforts. Of the associations that we have represented here today, we have the Corpus Christi Police Officers Association, the Fort Worth Police Officers Association, the Dallas Police Association, the Tarrant County Law Enforcement Association, the Fort Worth Black Police Officers Association, the National Latino Law Enforcement Association, the Arlington Police Officers Association, the San Antonio Police Officers Association, and the largest collective police association in Texas, the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas. So today, we're going to hear remarks from Sheriff Bill Wayburn, from Executive Director of CLEAT, Robert Leonard, and myself, and then we will have the opportunity to hear from Governor Greg Abbott. So first, I would like to introduce the Tarrant County Sheriff, Bill Wayburn.
Thank you, Commissioner. It is an honor to be here, and thank the Fort Worth Police Association for sponsoring it, and we thank the Governor for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, as I speak to you today of these great men and women that stand behind us today, that stand on the wall between good and evil, they've never had a governor like Governor Abbott that had their back. He has been our General Eisenhower as we faced just some recent things in Texas. He held Texas together. He stood alone, but he stood shoulder to shoulder with law enforcement on the border as we saw horrific things happen where we were losing citizens daily to fentanyl. We were losing police officers to deadly circumstances and chases and pursuits as Governor Abbott was in the thick of things with us. He was a combat-riddled governor who stood with law enforcement, and he stands with law enforcement today, and we've never had a governor, at least in my lifetime, that has done that. And I would like to say we haven't had a governor like this since Sam Houston. So God bless you, Governor, and we are so excited about your staying in office. And after we've shut the border down and things that are happening, I know that great things are about to unfold for Texas, and we will be the jewel of the world. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Robert Leonard, Executive Director for the Combined Law Enforcement Associations of Texas.
Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. On behalf of myself, the CLEAT Executive Board, and our 28,000 plus members statewide, I want to thank Governor Abbott for his unwavering support of public safety and law enforcement in this state. As the last few legislative sessions have shown, we have too many activist groups and Soros-funded district attorneys who have made it their purpose in life to take down law enforcement, to disrupt the public safety. The citizens in this state deserve a governor like Greg Abbott. He has shown time and time again how he is willing to fight for the men and women of law enforcement, but more importantly, he puts public safety first. He knows that the crime victims that have to endure all of the bad district attorneys who release these repeat offender criminals back into our society are out there committing crimes over and over again. They make it harder and harder every day for our law enforcement professionals to protect and serve. We are proud to support Governor Greg Abbott in his re-election campaign. We believe that Governor Greg Abbott is the only governor who is capable of standing up to the activists and the Soros-funded district attorneys, and who will help keep the great state of Texas safe for everybody. Governor, thank you.
Thank you. I think the common theme here that we see is that when Texas had problems and Texas had challenges in public safety, that we had a governor that would help us solve those challenges and that would have our backs and make sure that we had the tools to do our jobs. Across Texas, public safety is the top priority, and no one has been a stronger partner in helping us keep Texans safe than Governor Greg Abbott. When district attorneys and judges, activist judges, released violent criminals with just a slap on the wrist, Governor Abbott delivered common sense bail reforms that kept criminals behind bars where they belonged. When radicals called to defund police departments across Texas, a crazy idea. When they called to defund police departments, Governor Abbott responded, and he said, absolutely not. He demanded that there be legislation that maintained funding at levels that would keep our communities safe. Whenever our police officers face pension challenges, when they face benefit challenges, consistently there's one voice that's standing behind them echoing their struggle. It's Governor Greg Abbott. Now, our police officers face one of the toughest jobs in the entire world. Every single day they kiss their families goodbye, they leave, and they don't know if they're going to return home that night. That badge gets a little heavy as every single year goes on, and they don't know what's going to happen. But I'll tell you, as someone who's worn that badge for more than 15 years, knowing that your elected officials have your back makes that badge just a little bit lighter. And knowing that you have a governor that will help you and give you the tools you need to keep those criminals in jail, that you risk your life to arrest, that makes that badge just a little bit lighter. And Governor Abbott has stood with us time and time again to hold that thin blue line between chaos and order. And thank you for making sure that that thin blue line will never be broken. So in Texas, we support public safety. Law enforcement community supports Governor Abbott. We are proud to introduce the current and next governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott.
Well, thank you to, first of all, Manny, for your very kind words, but also for your longtime friendship. As you know, you and I have been friends back in the day when you were president of the Fort Worth Police Officers Association, and I thank you for your leadership in your current position, but also your long-standing commitment and fight for law and order in our state. Another longtime friend of mine is Sheriff Wayborn. Again, we have a sheriff here in Tarrant County who does a tremendous job for the county. However, he is a both state and national leader as it concerns law enforcement. To have you on my team is unbelievable. I cannot thank you enough for your endorsement, your support. And the same thing goes for CLEAT. Robert, thank you and your entire team. CLEAT, a statewide organization, and your members are remarkable. You know, one thing that you mentioned in your remarks is you touched upon something that people often lose sight of. You mentioned crime victims. All of us wake up every single day working to protect those victims from crime. We have a collective goal, and that's to have no more or fewer victims of crime in the future. And the only way we can do that is to have effective law enforcement. And that's exactly what you all are providing. And I got to tell you, I am so proud of all of these law enforcement officers behind me for their service, what they do every day. These are people who put their lives on the line every single day, deciding that they are supporting me for my reelection. I cannot be more proud of the men and women in uniform in the great state of Texas. I've been committed to law enforcement my entire life. When I graduated from nearby Duncanville High School, I received a scholarship to go to college from the Duncanville Police Department, where they invested in someone that they thought would be committed to law and order and to law enforcement. And they got a good return on their investment. Ever since I've been a judge or attorney general or governor, I've always had the back of our law enforcement officers, and as governor, I will continue to have their back every single day. Today, they are reaffirming that commitment with their endorsement of my campaign for re-election, and I cannot thank them enough. I want to call them out. I know, Manny, you did this, but it's worth emphasizing. Today, I'm receiving the endorsement of the Fort Worth Police Officers Association PAC, of CLEAT, Tarrant County Law Enforcement Association, Tarrant County Sheriff Bill Wayborn, the Dallas Police Association, National Latino Law Enforcement Organization, Corpus Christi Police Officer Association, San Antonio Police Officer Association, where also, by the way, my niece serves in the San Antonio Police Department, the Arlington Police Officers Association, and the Fort Worth Black Police Officers Association. I thank them for their endorsement, but more importantly, I thank them for what they do every single day. As Manny pointed out, I have fought side by side with them to make sure we do everything we can to keep Texans safe. When I saw what was going on earlier this decade in states across the country where there was an uprising among citizens where they wanted to defund police departments and actually did do that. And then when I saw it happening in the state of Texas, I said, there's no way we're going to have police officers or police departments defunded here. So I led the charge to get legislation passed that would ensure we would stop that dead in its tracks, where we will defund any city that defunds their law enforcement. All the time we engage in collaborative programs like what we recently did, where we cracked down on repeat offenders with the Repeat Offender Task Force. What this is a collaborative effort between the Texas Department of Public Safety, other state officials, as well as local law enforcement, where we identify known repeat offenders who are already in our database. And we find those who are in violation of the bail, the parole, or other violations, and we go arrest them. We got to them before they got to their next victim, to the tune of hundreds of these dangerous repeat offenders. And we just passed the biggest bail reform package ever in the history of the state of Texas. We had to correct what the leftist progressive judges and DAs were doing, letting dangerous criminals back out on the street. Hundreds of Texans were murdered by somebody who had been previously arrested for murder and let out on no or low bail only to kill again. That practice had to stop. And with the bail reform we passed this past session, those criminals are going to be where they belong, and that is behind bars. I've also worked with sheriffs across the state over the course of this past year to make sure that we are working with sheriffs in every county to participate in the 287G program to assist ICE. And going back to what we've been doing on the border, we support our local law enforcement agencies, especially in those small rural counties on the border where they don't have the funding to be able to provide the personnel or resources to be able to protect their communities. And so we provided them those personnel and resources to make sure they would be better equipped to safeguard their communities down there. Together, whether it be with the counties on the border or with Sheriff Wayborn or people in between, we and law enforcement in the state working together have achieved records in securing the border. Our collaboration has helped to end the dangerous open border policies. We have arrested cartels and narco criminals and repelled illegal immigrants. And fentanyl, which had been pouring into our state, has now, because of what we've done, fentanyl deaths have now been reduced by more than 40% in the state of Texas. One thing about law enforcement, one thing about public safety, it's not like one and done. It requires ongoing vigilance every single day for us to be able to keep the people of Texas safe. Our pledge is that ongoing commitment to our state. Going forward, we must weld shut the revolving door of easy bail for career criminals. We must hold rogue district attorneys accountable and establish a statewide prosecutor to do the job that local prosecutors refuse to do. We must keep dangerous criminals behind bars, protect sensitive information in a law enforcement officer's personnel file from disclosure that could otherwise expose them to harm. And we must ensure going forward that we work collaboratively to perpetually secure our border. I cannot thank these law enforcement officers enough for their service to our state and to their communities, and for the endorsement of my reelection campaign. These officers represent the very best of the state of Texas. I thank them for their service, for their sacrifice, and for their bravery. And as long as I am their governor, they know they will have a governor who has their back. Working together, we will keep Texas safe and secure. Thank you very much. I'll take a few questions, but before I do, I also want to thank a longtime police officer here in Fort Worth, now State Senator Phil King. I also thank a friend of mine, a friend of Tarrant County in the state of Texas, and that's your county judge, Tim O'Hare. Take a few questions.
Governor, it's a little off topic, but I'm wondering if you had anything to say about today's announcement of the lawsuit from AFT versus the TEA of Mike Morale.
Sure. Happy to answer your question, and I'll come back to you first. But before we do that, let's see if there's any on-topic questions. Go ahead.
What do you see as the main security threat facing Texas, and how do you plan to address it in your coming?
I hate to say this, but the main security threat to the state of Texas is from within, from our own district attorneys and our own judges who believe that somehow it's a good idea to let dangerous criminals back out on the streets. This past weekend, there was a law enforcement officer who was murdered by a repeat criminal with 33 crimes for which he had been arrested previously and let back out on the street. These law enforcement officers, as well as citizens across the state, face dangers every single day because we have judges and district attorneys who refuse to do their job.
For the men and women who do this job, we're kind of asking for impossible tasks to make these split-second decisions that can bring judgment, that can bring repercussions. Once they are in, you say you'll have their back. What are we doing for that aspect of their well-being?
Sure. This past session, I signed several laws to protect them or to shield them from rogue district attorneys who bring claims against them that are unjustified. That's just one of the many ways. Another way is that we provided funding to provide bulletproof windshields to make sure that when they're on duty, pulling up to a crime scene, they're not going to be shot through the windshields. And whether it be public safety things like that, supporting them from rogue DAs, or as Manny pointed out, supporting them in their pensions or in their public records, top to bottom. Whatever they need, I'm here to serve them because they're here to serve us. All right, tell me your question again.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you have any comment on the lawsuit filed by the AFT today against the TEA Commissioner Mike Morale.
Sure. I'm going to respond to it generally because I've not seen the lawsuit. I've heard about the lawsuit. But I'm going to go back and reiterate what I said when all this, the underlying facts were going on. What was going on is we had public school teachers who were involved in celebrating the assassination of somebody. That's reprehensible. It's unethical. There should be no one of any age, of any profession, who celebrates the assassination of a human being. We need dramatic course correction. That said, it gets worse because some of these educators that the TEA was pursuing action against, they were inciting violence in their classroom in front of students by celebrating the assassination of somebody. We don't need people like that educating our students. We need teachers who are going to focus on reading, writing, math, and science, not inciting violence against humans in the United States of America.
Governor, can you talk to us a little bit about what you plan to do to ensure affordability in your reelection for Texas?
So listen, this cuts across a lot of different issues. Well, one affordability issue starts at home, and that's with the cost of a home. We're doing two things about the cost of a home. Legislation that I signed this past session ensures that Texas ranks #1 in the United States for building more homes. We sliced the regulations to expedite that process. When you add more supply of homes, that brings down the cost of homes. Second, one of the drivers of the cost of living in a home are property taxes. I have the most robust property tax reduction package of anybody running for office right now. I'm seeking to eliminate the school district property tax, ensure that spending that leads to property tax increases is contained by those that impose property taxes, work to reform the appraisal process. The appraisals right now, they are allowed by law to go up 10% a year. That's outrageous, and it has to end, and I want to see that capped at no more than 3% a year. And so if the package I have for cutting property taxes passes, Texas will be the most affordable state in the country. I'll add this also, and that is insurance across the board has gotten out of control. So we are working on strategies to reduce the cost of home insurance, auto insurance, business insurance across the board to make sure that it's more affordable to live your life, more affordable to run a business. Go ahead.
In Dallas, voters passed a proposition to set a baseline for staffing for officers. Dallas is still continuing to fall short of that despite their best efforts. So how do you plan to help cities reach those voter-approved minimums?
So first of all, I'll tell you this, and that is you're seeing over the past 1 or 2 days that Dallas is bearing the brunt or burden of their failure to have fully staffed law enforcement, their failure to contain a homeless problem. Local leaders, it's their responsibility to ensure that homeless people are not endangering their citizens. It's the responsibility of local leaders to fully fund their local law enforcement. Because Dallas did not do that, AT&T is now moving out of downtown Dallas. But it's not the only thing we're seeing. We're seeing other issues like that arise in Dallas. Dallas is losing property tax revenue because they refused to step up and do what was needed. But if you go back to the law that I signed, and that is we will defund any city that defunds their police, we're going to be looking into what the city of Dallas has or has not done with regard to funding their police, see if they're in violation of that state law that I signed.
Governor, yesterday you announced that you were directing the state to investigate child care facilities in terms of any fraud being committed. Do you believe that there's fraud being committed in terms of federal funds for child care in the state?
When I saw what was going on in Minnesota, I knew it was outrageous, maybe criminal, is a practice that should not exist in any state. It seems like at a minimum, in Minnesota they have billions of dollars in fraud because of fraudulent payments to daycare centers. I wanted to make sure that Texas is doing everything possible to contain that. The reality is we already have in place practices to prevent fraud in advance. But I wanted to redouble the efforts of all of the agencies that have any oversight of child care centers, which includes the State Department of Health and Human Services Commission, as well as the Texas Workforce Commission. And they will be getting a report to me by the end of February to clarify if there are any abuses going on in the state of Texas, and if so, the course correction that's been made.
When they're
what drives me every single day is my fellow Texans. And I'm not more passionate about anything other than their safety. And I'm passionate whether it be the law enforcement officers who work to achieve it, or whether it be fixing the problems that we see at the local level with regard to judges and district attorneys, or whatever I can do to make sure we keep our state safe. If we can keep our community safe, Texas will be such a remarkable state. And my history and my future commitment is to ensure Texas does everything possible to keep our state safe, and that starts with our law enforcement officers. Thank you.